Hi, everyone. Welcome to the College Admissions Collaborative Highlighting Engineering and Technology College Fair. We are so excited to have you participating in this event. We've got some fantastic schools here with us throughout the day. My name is Andy, and I will be your facilitator. And before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. And this is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the schedule on the website. And lastly, this presentation is being recorded, and that recording will be available at strivescan.com/CACHET. And now I'd like to turn things over to our presenter, Trinity College.
Thank you so much, Andy. Hello, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the world. My name is Emily Petersell. I am an Associate Director of Admissions at Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut. Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation this evening. So without further ado, I am going to share my screen and we will get started. So, Trinity College. Before we jump in and start talking about the college, I do like to take a moment to acknowledge the land on which Trinity College was built and the original people who stewarded that land. So Trinity College is located just west of the Quinnipiac or Connecticut River within Wangan homelands. The river valley has sustained countless generations of Wangan people and have been joined over time by indigenous communities from across the globe, which includes Hartford's Andean, Central American, and Caribbean communities. So being situated in Hartford, we at Trinity College have an ongoing investment in recognizing and celebrating the indigenous communities of Connecticut, New England, and the wider world. And you can see on this slide, this is an overhead shot of our campus. The college campus is in the foreground, and then you have the downtown area of Hartford, Connecticut in the background there. So as you can see, we are in many ways a quintessential New England college campus, beautiful historic buildings and greenery, but we are very much in an urban setting. So we are situated on a 100-acre campus in the capital city of Hartford, Connecticut. Hartford is right in the center of the state of Connecticut. We are about 2 hours south of the city of Boston and 2 hours north of New York City. So we're wedged in between two major metropolitan areas, but Hartford is very much a city in its own right. The greater Hartford area population is about 1.2 million people. In addition to that, we do have our own international airport, Bradley International Airport, that's only about a 20-minute drive away from the Trinity campus. So if you are thinking about coming to Trinity from farther away where you would need to fly to us, you actually don't need to fly into Boston or New York. You can fly directly into Hartford. A little bit more about us. So I mentioned we are a small liberal arts college. We have a little over 2,100 full-time undergraduates in our student body. But for a small community, we are very diverse. So right now our students represent 48 US states and 80 different countries around the world. So we very much consider ourselves to be a global community. Our international students make up about 13% of our student population. An additional 23% of our students are self-identified students of color from the United States. And about 90% of our students live on campus at any given time. And I think that's really important in understanding that Trinity is very much a residential community, and we are very much a living, learning community where it's not a commuter school where students are often going home on evenings and weekends. Our students are living together, working together, and being in community together sort of around the clock. I'm going to spend a little bit of time taking a deep dive into the academic experience at Trinity. So as a liberal arts college, there are certain requirements that every student must engage with while they are at Trinity, no matter what they're studying. So first things first, we start off the academic experience with either a first-year seminar course or a gateway program. So first-year seminar courses are small discussion-based, research-based courses that are capped at 15 students, and they are designed to give students sort of an introduction to college-level work and expectations at Trinity. Your professor for your first-year seminar is also your academic advisor for the entire first year. So the same person who is advising you on which classes to take or what you might want to major in is actually a person who's getting to know you in the classroom and understanding who you are as a student. First year seminars are all in different topics, so you could take a first year seminar that is STEM focused, you can take one in the humanities or in the social sciences and so on, but they're all sort of structurally similar. Gateway programs are a little bit different. So a gateway program is an invitation-only program that they're typically interdisciplinary, but also a little bit more focused and allow students to take a deep dive into a specific area right away. So I'm going to talk a little bit in a moment about one of our specific gateway programs, which is our interdisciplinary science program. After the first year and throughout the course of your 4 years at Trinity, there are certain distribution requirements that students need to fulfill in order to graduate. So each student has to take at least one course in arts, humanities, social science, natural science, numeric and symbolic reasoning, as well as a global requirement. So distribution requirements are extremely broad and very flexible. So this is not like a core curriculum where we're telling students, oh, everybody needs to take this calculus course or this biology course. There are over 900 courses in the Trinity course catalog that you can choose from, and there are lots of different ways to fulfill these requirements. We encourage students to take courses that will fulfill these requirements, but that are also complementary to their primary areas of interest. So I'll give you an example. So oftentimes when students see that numeric and symbolic reasoning requirement, they assume that means math, right? Take a math class. Certainly you can take a math class. If you're majoring in math or majoring in a science, you're probably going to end up fulfilling this requirement pretty quickly and easily. But math isn't the only way to fulfill that requirement. We teach a course on gerrymandering at Trinity that actually counts for numeric and symbolic reasoning. We also teach a logic course in our philosophy department that can count as numeric and symbolic reasoning. So lots of different ways that you can fulfill these requirements. You can also fulfill your global requirement by studying away. About 60% of Trinity students do study away at least once before they graduate. One thing that is new as of this year that I want to talk about are our wellness and co-curricular requirements. So starting with this year's incoming first year class, every student in order to graduate from Trinity will have to take a wellness requirement. So that would be a class that is focused on physical or mental well-being. We really believe in educating the whole person at Trinity, and that includes taking care of yourself. And so we have introduced that wellness requirement for that reason. We also have introduced co-curricular requirements. So every student now, in order to graduate, does need to participate in a certain number of co-curricular activities in order to complete their education at Trinity. So co-curricular activities could include things like internships, studying away, research, teaching fellowships, community learning courses, anything where you're sort of getting out into the real world, engaging with it authentically, and applying what you're learning to real life. These co-curricular experiences are not at all new at Trinity, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this in a couple of slides. But we have now formalized it so that each student is required to take co-curricular activities or experiences in as part of their academic experience. Finally, every student at Trinity does complete their academic experience by completing either a senior capstone project, a senior thesis, or taking a senior seminar course in their major. If you are an engineer, for example, at Trinity, you would be doing that senior capstone project. So for some majors, there are, you don't get a choice of which of these three you'd like to do. For other majors, you would get some choice. You'll notice in the top corner of this slide, our student to faculty ratio is about 9:1, which means that class sizes at Trinity are really small across the board for all departments. No matter what you're majoring in, the average class size at Trinity is about 18 students. And so you are definitely going to be in classes where you are seen and heard by both your professors and your peers. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity to be building relationships with those professors, getting great mentorship from them, which can open doors for you in the future. And there's also a lot of opportunity to engage with your peers and really get to know one another. So I'm going to, for the next couple of slides, kind of walk you through some more STEM specific pieces of the academic experience, just to give you a sense, because this is a STEM presentation, of what's available at Trinity. So starting with the first year, I mentioned this gateway, the interdisciplinary science program. Again, this is an invitation-based program, so students will be invited to join this program in their first year if they have expressed an interest in their application, a strong interest in studying STEM. You don't need to know right away what you want to major in at Trinity, but if you know that you're interested in doing work in STEM, this might be a good program for you. So this is an academic program that's designed to broaden and enrich the study of science and mathematics by exploring the links between the different scientific disciplines and their connection with the external world. So the core of the ISP, we call it ISP, the core of the ISP program consists of a seminar and a research apprenticeship, which both take place in the first year. So in the first semester, you're doing that interdisciplinary science seminar, and then actually in the second semester, you are doing research with a professor on our campus. And so the ISP program also provides a summer stipend for you to do a research experience over the summer between your first and second year. So this is a great opportunity for students who are interested in STEM to take that deep dive, to start getting involved in research right away. And these photos are from our ISP cohort that graduated in 2020. These are photos courtesy of one of our alumni, Donovan Palmer, who was an ISP student. He also double majored in engineering and physics. So let's talk about majors. So you saw on the previous slide, we have 41 majors and 27 minors to choose from at Trinity. So there's certainly a lot. The great thing about us being a liberal arts college is that we do not have students apply directly to programs. So when you come to Trinity, you're just coming to be a member of the community, and we don't expect you to declare your major until partway through your sophomore year. So for those first 3 semesters that you're on campus, you have the time and the space to take classes in different areas, take some STEM courses, but you can also take courses outside of STEM and kind of figure out what's the best pathway for me? What am I really excited about? Do I want to major in the thing I thought I wanted to major in? Certainly, if you come in with a really strong interest, if you know right off the bat, I'm going to study chemistry, that is my major, you can start taking those chemistry courses right away. Another important thing to know is that all majors at Trinity are open to all students. So even for things like our engineering degree program, there are no caps on how many students can be in a certain major. There are no prerequisites or GPA requirements in order to be a certain major. And about 15% of our students actually choose to double major. So it is not uncommon at all for students like Donovan, who I mentioned, to major in more than one thing or to be studying multiple things at Trinity. A lot of students come to us who are really interested in the intersections of different disciplines. On here, you'll see the STEM majors that we offer. So about a quarter of the majors we offer are in STEM fields, and accordingly, about a quarter of the degrees that we award each year are to STEM majors. So about a quarter of our students are working in STEM. A couple of things that I want to highlight on here specifically would be our engineering program. So Trinity is really proud to be a small liberal arts college that has its own fully ABET accredited Bachelor's of Science in Engineering degree. We are one of only a handful of colleges in the country where you can get the engineering degree, but still have that small, tight-knit community and that robust liberal arts experience. So we're really proud of that. Concentrations in engineering include mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, biomedical, and computer engineering. The other one I want to point out is our neuroscience degree. So this is one of the few programs we offer at Trinity where you can actually stay for 5 years and get a dual degree. So you can get a Bachelor's of Science in Neuroscience and a Master's of Arts in Neuroscience by staying an additional year. Neuroscience is one of our fastest growing majors at Trinity. It's getting more popular every day. I think a lot of that is due in part to the fact that our president, Joanne Berger-Sweeney, is a neurotoxicologist. And so I think she attracts a lot of people to her who are interested in that field. So certainly an exciting major for us. And I mentioned that every student does a senior capstone or a senior seminar course or a senior thesis. So here's an example of a senior engineering capstone project, again, from my friend Donovan. So Donovan worked at the on-campus coffee shop at Trinity. And he built this robot that is designed to go to the coffee shop and pick up his coffee and bring it to him. So solving those big problems, but he really enjoyed taking the time to build this robot over the course of his senior year. And then because he was a double major in engineering and physics, he also took a senior seminar in physics where he was doing research as well. So here's a photo from that. So that's sort of covering our academics for the moment. I am going to go now and talk a little bit about our campus community. But before I do, I just want to remind folks that you do have access to the Q&A. I'm keeping my eye on it, and I will try to answer questions as we go. I can also take questions at the end. So if you would like to submit any questions in the Q&A, please feel free to do so. But let's talk a little bit about our campus community. So I mentioned already that we are a highly residential campus community. At any given time, about 90% of Trinity students do live on campus. And even those who don't live on our campus, most of them live right across the street from Trinity. So they're still within walking distance of all of the buildings on campus and are still very much a part of our residential community. In the first year at Trinity, every student lives in what we call a nest, which is part of our Bantam network. So the Bantam network is a residential network that was designed for students by students. Pause, sidebar. If you don't know what a bantam is, that's okay. The bantam is our mascot, and it is a chicken. The bantam is like a big, really fancy, tough, edgy chicken with big, beautiful feathers. So we are the Trinity Bantams, and because we are the Bantams, we have a lot of chicken references on campus. So Bantams sleep in nests, and you will also sleep in a nest as a first-year student at Trinity. There are 10 nests that make up the Bantam network. They each have their own name. They're named after different Trinity traditions. On your first day at Trinity, you would be assigned to one of those nests. Each nest has about 60 students in it, and those 60 students all live together in the same residence hall. And there will actually be overlap between the students in your residence hall and the students who are in your first year seminar course or your gateway program. So if you were participating in that interdisciplinary science gateway program, students from that program would also be in your nest. So right from the get-go, we have this very supportive living learning network that is available to you for you to start really getting to know your peers, both in the classroom and outside of it. Certainly, living together in community is not the only way that students are making friends and finding their community. They will oftentimes get very involved on our campus. We have an extremely active campus community. Personally, every student I know is involved in at least 2 clubs or a club and a sport, and they are really dedicated to really keeping our campus community vibrant. So we have over 140 different student clubs and organizations that students can join. In addition to that, we also have 30 men's and women's varsity athletic teams. So we do play at the Division III level. Trinity is part of the NESCAC group, the New England Small College Athletic Conference, which is the most competitive athletic conference at the Division III level. So if you are interested in playing a sport, certainly feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to help connect you to our coaches. I want to highlight in particular some of our STEM-focused societies, clubs, and organizations that we have available for students to join on campus. So we have the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, Doctors Without Borders. Green Campus is a group that is really focused on environmentalism, combating climate change, and really going green at Trinity and working for sustainability. The Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, we do have a chapter of NISB, the National Society of Black Engineers, a neuroscience club. We also have the Society of Women Engineers. We have a chapter here, and as well as our Sustainability Committee. So the Sustainability Committee actually works with staff and administrators at the college on trying to make Trinity more sustainable and to implement initiatives for sustainability on our campus. So if you are interested in that, there is certainly a lot going on in that space at Trinity and lots of work to do. The next thing I want to talk about is a little bit more about our location. I talked about Hartford a little bit earlier on, but I really do want to spend some more time talking about our environment and the types of opportunities that it opens up for students. I want to preface this by saying that for me, Hartford, Connecticut is the differentiator about a Trinity education versus other small liberal arts colleges, right? That's a question that I often get, right? Why should I go to this small liberal arts college versus anywhere else? And I think the reason is because there is so much opportunity around us, so many ways to authentically engage in community. And I think that our location and the fact that we are an urban liberal arts college really does shape the types of students who are attracted to Trinity and the types of students who are really successful with us. I think Trinity students are the types of people who are very proactive about their education and about starting to build their careers. They are students who want to engage authentically with community, both on campus and off campus. And they really care about getting involved in the city environment and really wanting to take advantage of all that the city has to offer them. So let's talk a little bit specifically about internships. So you see on my slide here, we do have over 200 Trinity-specific internship opportunities in and around the city of Hartford. So what that means is that there are actually companies and organizations all over Hartford that are holding spots for Trinity students. They're coming to us every year and asking for Trinity students to come and work with them. We do allow students to do those internships for credit. And as you heard earlier when I talked about academics, starting this year, we are actually now requiring students to do some co-curricular activities for credit towards their degree. So internships would count as one of those opportunities. Two different programs that I want to highlight because they may be specifically interesting to STEM-focused students. One is our Health Fellows program. So the Health Fellows program tends to be attractive to students who are thinking about going into careers in the medical field or in healthcare professions. So the Health Fellows program is where we match students at Trinity one-on-one with clinicians and researchers who work in Hartford hospitals and medical centers. We do have partnerships with 3 different major hospitals in Hartford. 2 of them are within walking distance of our campus. So you would be matched with a mentor. You would go and work with your mentor on a regular basis. So you'd be going off campus, going to the hospital or the medical center that they work in, working with them directly. You would be doing research alongside them, and you would also be taking a seminar course on our campus with the other health fellows. So that's a really robust program. It's a great opportunity for students who are interested in potentially going to medical school or, like I said, going into any sort of healthcare career. Our Infosys partnership is another one that I like to talk about. So Infosys is a global information technology company. They are based in India. That is where their headquarters is, but they do have a big office in downtown Hartford. And we actually work with Infosys through our Innovation Center, which is one of our downtown spaces. So we have a partnership with Infosys. They actually send their employees to us to learn liberal arts because Infosys leadership really believes that liberal arts helps people be more creative, flexible thinkers and better workers. And then we in turn can also have sent students to Infosys to intern both in Hartford as well as in Bangalore, India. So it's a really great partnership we have with them. Our Center for Hartford Engagement and Research, or what we call SHARE, C-H-E-R. SHARE is the umbrella organization through which we organize all of our other ways to engage with the Hartford community outside of internships. So SHARE organizes all of our community learning courses. A community learning course is a class taught by a Trinity faculty member. Where a component of the class will actually require students to get off campus and engage with an organization, a population, engage with the city community in some way. About a third of Trinity students have taken at least one community learning course before they graduate. And I think that number is increasing all the time. The Center for Hartford Engagement and Research also manages our Liberal Arts Action Lab. The Liberal Arts Action Lab is a space in downtown Hartford where Trinity students can come together with students from Capital Community College in Hartford, and they can actually work on real projects that have been proposed by Hartford residents and Hartford organizations. These aren't projects that Trinity or Capital Community College made up so that students could learn, right? These are actually real problems that come from the city, that some research needs to be done in order to find a solution. Our students get to work directly with community partners and stakeholders on these projects. So it's a really great opportunity to do that real world learning and to really get to know the city. We've done projects related to urban housing, food security, after school education programs, all different kinds of things that are taking place in the city of Hartford. So there's a lot to do, both on our campus and around it. And so our students are definitely very busy. But one thing that I have always appreciated about Trinity students is that I think they are also really mindful about how they use their time. They definitely do like to stay busy, but they also are, I think, really carefully crafting their experiences all throughout their time at Trinity. And that is due in part to the help of our Career and Life Design Center. So the Career and Life Design Center at Trinity is the place where you go for all things related to sort of designing your Trinity experience, right? So not just thinking about what you want to do after, but thinking about your whole 4 years at Trinity as the beginnings of your career and really shaping that experience, making sure you're getting your foot in the door at the right places, that you're taking the right classes to ultimately be where you want to be in 4 years' time. And here are some of the results of from our Career and Life Design Center. So each year, more than 90% of our students have positive outcomes, which means that within 6 months of graduation, our graduates are either employed full-time, in graduate school, or taking part in another full-time opportunity of some sort. So it's a great stat. It's something that we're really proud of. And I think it's because our students are really becoming very well prepared during their time at Trinity. And you will see in the top corner, that yellow box on this slide, science, technology, and engineering is actually the second most popular industry category for our students to go into, with about a quarter of Trinity students entering into jobs in those fields right out of the gate after graduating from Trinity. So the last thing I want to do before I turn it over for questions is to give you just a quick, not really an overview, but some highlights about our admissions process and our financial aid process. The full details of how to apply to Trinity can be found on our website, so I'm not going to walk through the whole process today, but I do just want to point out some key things that I think is important to remember about Trinity. So first and foremost, you can apply either early decision or regular decision to Trinity. Either way, you would be applying through the Common Application. So right now, the Common App is the one and only application that we accept at Trinity. So you would add us as a school on Common App and apply through that. Early decision, as you may already know, is a binding agreement. So if you've decided that Trinity is absolutely your #1 choice, you can definitely see yourself here, and you're really committed to coming here should you be admitted, you would want to apply in one of our early decision rounds. So early decision 1 is November 15th is the deadline. Early decision 2 is January 14th. If you're not totally sure if Trinity is your top choice, or you just feel like you would like more time to decide if it is, you would apply regular decision, and that deadline is also January 14th. We are a test optional college, which means that we do not require students to submit the SAT or the ACT as part of their application to Trinity. This is for no matter what you're intending to major in, no matter what program you want to join at Trinity. I promise test scores are truly optional. And for context, last year, less than 20% of the students who applied to Trinity actually submitted testing. So we've become a very, very, very accustomed since 2015, when we went test optional, to reading applications without those test scores. So I promise you, if you don't want to share your test score, it is okay. It is not going to hurt you in the process. If you do have test scores that you are proud of and you would like to share them, you are certainly welcome to do so, and I am happy to consider them. We do require 1 letter of recommendation in order to complete your application. This should come from someone who can speak to who you are in the classroom and your academic experiences. You are welcome to submit additional letters of recommendation, but we do not require more than 1 in order for your application to be considered complete. We do waive our application fee automatically for all first-generation college students. So if you are the first in your family to go to a four-year college, automatically it is free for you to apply to Trinity College. We don't want any barriers for first-gen students in coming to Trinity. That being said, if you are not a first-generation college student, but that fee is posing a barrier for you, and please let me know. Feel free to reach out to us, because we never want the application fee to be the one thing that's holding a student back from potentially applying to Trinity College. Lastly, I want to mention that we do use holistic review when we read applications at Trinity. So what holistic review means for us is that we are not just looking at one or two pieces of your application and making a decision. When I sit down to read an application, I am actually reading the entire thing from start to finish and trying to understand who you are as a student, but also who you are as a person and as a potential community member at Trinity. We really want to understand who you are right now, who you are becoming, and who you have the potential to become if you came to the Trinity campus and if you were here in Hartford, Connecticut with us. Last piece is about financial aid. We are very generous with our need-based aid program. We are committed to meeting 100% of our students' calculated financial need across the board through our need-based aid program. This is true and the same for all students, whether you are a domestic student, an international student, or an undocumented student. We are committed to meeting your full financial need. In addition to that, we do also offer merit scholarships as part of our financial aid program. The great news about merit scholarships at Trinity is that there is nothing extra that you need to do to be considered for a merit award. So you don't have to submit a separate scholarship application or meet a special deadline or anything like that. We hand select our merit scholarship winners directly from our applicant pool. So just by applying to Trinity, you are automatically going to be in consideration for any of the merit scholarships that we have available. That is the end of my formal presentation, and here is my contact information. So again, my name is Emily Petersell. You'll see my nickname on there. Everyone at Trinity calls me Pete. You are welcome to call me Pete as well. If you call the admissions office actually and ask for Emily, they may not know who you're talking about. If you ask for Pete, they will put you through to me. My pronouns are she, her, hers. Again, I'm an associate director of admissions, and I am super happy to hear from you at any time. So please feel free to write down my email address or take a little screenshot of it there. I would be very happy to take any questions from you in the future, but I'm also happy to take questions now. I don't have any in the Q&A, but I'll wait for a few minutes to see if anyone has any questions for me. Thank you very much, everyone. Don't have any questions yet. I'm happy to hang out for a few more minutes just to see if anybody does have questions for me. Again, feel free to throw those right into the Q&A. I am happy to answer them. Okay, Andy, it doesn't look like we have any questions in the Q&A, so I think we can probably wrap up.
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap up. And if there is anything that comes through, we'll definitely keep it open. But for now, I will go ahead and share my screen and just say thanks to all of you for joining us today. When you do close this window, there is going to be a link to a very quick 5-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback that you can provide. Do encourage you to check back to the schedule and sign up for any more sessions. There will be a few more this evening. And again, lastly, you will be able to find this session's recording as well as all the other session recordings at strivescan.com/cache. So thanks again. We'll maybe keep it open here first a little bit, just in case anybody does have any questions. But otherwise, have a good evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Well, I'm still not seeing anything pop in, so I'll probably go ahead and end things for this evening. Have a good one.
Thank you, Andy. Have a
Thanks
good night.
again. You too.